Do you consume oatmeal every day thinking it's good for your body? What if I told you that she might be sabotaging your health after 50? I know it's hard to hear that. Even more so when you do your best to eat well, follow healthy tips, try to keep the pace, energy. And even so, she feels her body heavier, her joints hurting, her mood slowly going away. Sounds unfair, doesn't it? You wake up, prepare your oatmeal with all your care, believing that you are taking care of your body. But what if this caution is coming with a hidden price? What if these symptoms, the bloating, the difficult digestion, the lack of strength, are the consequence of small mistakes that no one told you? Not because you're doing something wrong, but because no one has explained to you how the body changes after 50 and how certain habits need to change as well. The truth is that oats can be a powerful ally, but if it is consumed in the wrong way, it can turn into a silent enemy. And that's what most people over 50 don't know. Certain details in the way you prepare and consume oatmeal may be inflaming your body, stealing nutrients, and accelerating the wear and tear of your joints without you realizing it. Today I want to talk to you openly, directly, as if talking to someone in the family. Because if there's one thing I don't accept, it's seeing so many well-intentioned people suffering from lack of information. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you will discover the 8 most common mistakes when consuming oats that are silently harming your health. And more importantly, I will show you how to turn this game around. Because after 50, every choice counts. And you deserve to live with more energy, more lightness, and without unnecessary pain. That's why, if you're over 50, you need to pay attention to every detail of what you put on your plate. Sometimes it is precisely the foods that seem most harmless that cause the most damage. And oatmeal, although so recommended out there, may be bringing you more problems than benefits if you don't know exactly how to use it to your advantage. Here, the intention is not to scare you, but to open your eyes with affection. Because information is power, and when you understand what's behind what you feel in your body, everything changes. And if this type of guidance makes sense to you, if you want to continue learning how to take better care of your body without complications, with clear and direct explanations, take the opportunity to sign up here. This way you continue to receive content that really makes a difference in your routine. The first mistake, and perhaps the most common, is to prepare oatmeal in a hurry, without considering that the body, especially after 50, responds differently to what we eat first thing in the morning. Many people, maybe even you, have the habit of consuming oatmeal for breakfast as if it were a healthy and unquestionable ritual. The problem is that this ritual, when done without balance, can cause fluctuations in blood sugar, cause insulin spikes, and generate that unpleasant feeling of tiredness a few hours after the meal. And this happens mainly when oats are consumed alone or accompanied by ingredients that do not support the body properly. One mistake that stands out, and that may be directly interfering with your energy and muscle strength, is consuming oatmeal for breakfast without any quality protein source. This combination, which many people do due to lack of guidance, leads to an important nutritional imbalance. The body needs amino acids early on, especially after the age of 50, when the loss of muscle mass naturally accelerates. And when you deliver only carbohydrates, even if they are considered good, such as those from oats, you are failing to provide your body with one of the fundamental blocks to keep your muscles firm, your metabolism active, and your energy levels stable throughout the day. And it's not about abandoning oats. Far from it. It's about respecting the complexity of your body now that it requires more care and more strategy. By consuming protein-free oats, you are unintentionally activating a roller coaster ride in your hormonal system. That is why many report that they wake up in a good mood. But after breakfast, they feel a thud of drowsiness, lack of concentration, or even irritability. This happens because glucose rises fast, but soon plummets, and this sudden drop affects the entire functioning of the body, including your mental and emotional disposition. And when we talk about dietary health after 50, we are not just talking about what makes you fat or lose weight. We are talking about quality of life, prevention of diseases such as sarcopenia, avoidance of falls, joint pain, bone fragility, and even cardiovascular risks. Yes, this all starts with simple choices, like what you mix with your oatmeal in the morning, a combination that many think is healthy, but that may be eroding your vitality from the inside out. Over the years, we've heard that oatmeal is good for the heart, that it helps the gut, that it prolongs satiety, and all of this may be true, but it is not an absolute and isolated truth. What determines whether it will be beneficial or not is the context. What you eat together, how your body is reacting to it at this time in life, and above all, how much you are aware of the signals that your body gives you. Do you feel bloating? Bloating right after coffee? A laziness that doesn't seem to go away even after a good night's sleep? Well, know that this can be directly linked to the way you are starting the day, the way you are structuring your morning food, and yes, the way you are consuming your oatmeal. After 50, our body has less room for dietary errors. Cell regeneration is slower, nutrient absorption becomes less efficient, and each food choice begins to have a deeper and more lasting impact. There is no point in following a diet just because everyone does it, or because it seems healthy. What worked at 30 no longer responds in the same way now. And that's why rethinking your breakfast, starting with how you prepare your oatmeal, is an attitude of care and respect for your body. You can, for example, combine your oatmeal with a portion of unsweetened natural yogurt, with seeds such as chia or flaxseed, or even with a boiled egg on the side. These are simple ways to balance nutrients and avoid that side effect of fatigue and early hunger. And if you have restrictions on dairy or eggs, you can still adjust your oatmeal with plant-based proteins, like some grilled tofu or a scoop of plant-based protein isolate without additives. The important thing is to understand that, in isolation, oats can become a trigger of imbalance, especially in an organism that already needs more support to keep the muscles firm, the mind alert, and the heart strong. And it's not just the absence of protein that compromises the way oats act in your body. Many consume oats thinking that they are naturally light and digestive. But when poorly combined or when consumed repeatedly in the same way without breaks, it can cause the opposite effect: slow digestion, gas formation, mild but persistent intestinal inflammation, and for those over 50, any inflammation, no matter how small, contributes to joint pain, a feeling of heaviness in the legs, difficulty concentrating, and even insomnia. It's a chain effect that starts on the plate but ends on overall well-being. And here I need to reinforce something important. I'm not saying that oats are a villain. It remains one of the most nutritious cereals we have available, but it requires knowledge, respect for your body, and attention to the signs. What defines whether it will be your ally or your obstacle is the way you are fitting it into your routine. And this is what almost no one talks about clearly, and I understand that all of this may seem new or even confusing at first. After all, we've spent decades hearing that oatmeal is the right choice, but the good news is that with a few tweaks, conscious choices, and small substitutions, you can continue to enjoy oats, now in a way that truly nourishes, sustains, and respects your mature body. Your body deserves this care. He's been through a lot. He's taken you here, and now he needs wiser, more informed choices. And knowing this already puts you one step ahead of most. While many continue to repeat patterns without knowing what is behind the pain, fatigue, lack of energy, you are here, looking for answers, learning, allowing yourself to transform your relationship with food, and that in itself is already a powerful decision. Because longevity with quality of life does not start in the future, it starts today, in the small choices, in the details of your breakfast. And that's precisely why we're going to continue on this journey together. Because now that you understand the impact of this combination of oats and protein, or rather, the lack of it, it's time to look at another mistake, as common as this one, but which may be silently sabotaging the functioning of your intestine, your absorption of nutrients, and even the health of your bones, and it is more present in the routine of people over 50 than you might think. Because when we talk about strategic food, especially after this stage of life, It is necessary to look beyond the obvious. And the next mistake, as common as it is silent, is related to something that many do for convenience or lack of time: heating oats repeatedly in the microwave. It may seem like a harmless detail, but the way you prepare and heat your food can directly interfere with how the body recognizes, processes, and enjoys nutrients. In the case of oats, this habit of reheating, especially when done several times, can alter the structure of its fibers and some of its most sensitive components, impairing its positive effects on digestion and metabolism. Let's better understand what happens. When you cook oatmeal and then put it in the fridge to heat it up later, it is likely that, in the rush of everyday life, you will end up using the microwave to make it easier. The problem starts there. The microwave heats up unevenly and, in many cases, with an intensity that exceeds the ideal point. This can modify the composition of beta-glucans, which are precisely the type of fiber that makes oats beneficial for cholesterol control and gut health. These fibers, when well preserved, form a type of gel in the stomach that slows digestion, prolongs satiety, and helps prevent blood sugar spikes. But when exposed to very high and repeated temperatures, this structure degrades. And the result? An oatmeal that, instead of helping, begins to weigh down, cause fermentation, discomfort, and even bind the intestine, a problem that is already common after 50, and that can be aggravated by this small daily practice. And I know that for many people, especially those who have a hectic routine even after 50, preparing oatmeal the day before and just heating it up seems like a practical solution. But it is precisely in these moments that the body needs care the most. And taking care of the body at this stage of life does involve paying attention to how you are handling food, how you store it, and above all, how you reheat it. Often, what was supposed to be a functional and beneficial food becomes a trigger for internal inflammation, and I'm not exaggerating when I use that word. Low-grade inflammation, the one that settles silently, is behind joint pain, chronic fatigue, loss of muscle mass, and even difficulty thinking. And it can be fed daily by simple practices such as overheating food, especially those rich in fiber and starches such as oatmeal. And there's more. By heating oats in the microwave frequently, many end up adding other ingredients to the ready-made dish, such as fruit or sweeteners, that react badly to excessive heat. Bananas, for example, lose part of their enzymes and fibers sensitive to intense heat. Cinnamon, when heated beyond what is necessary, can even form toxic compounds in small quantities, but in the long run, added to the rest of the diet, cause an accumulative effect. It's not about demonizing the microwave, but rather about understanding that it's not oats' best friend when looking for gut health, longevity with quality, and metabolic balance after 50. A much more interesting and gentle alternative to your body is to opt for fresh preparations. Cooking oats quickly on the spot or leaving them to hydrate overnight in water or vegetable drink, the famous overnight oats, can better preserve their nutrients and prevent these harmful changes. In addition, by preparing it on the spot, you have greater control over the temperature, texture, and can combine with ingredients at the right time, respecting the properties of each one. And here comes a valuable tip for those who want to optimize their strategic diet. Oats, when well prepared and associated with good fats and proteins, enhance the use of nutrients and offer a more stable energy throughout the day. Now just imagine. You wake up, prepare your oatmeal with warm vegetable milk, chia, a pinch of cinnamon, and a spoonful of hydrolyzed collagen. No microwave, no rush, no loss of nutrients. Now that's a health ritual. This is taking care of the body with intelligence and affection. And yes, this care requires a little more attention. But think with me. How much time have you wasted dealing with unexplained tiredness, difficult digestion, feeling bloated, irregular sleep? What if part of this is coming precisely from this automatic practice of heating and reheating everything in the microwave? What if changing that is a simple, but decisive, step toward transforming how your body reacts to food? After 50, every detail matters. Each adjustment you make to your eating routine can represent more disposition, less pain, more lightness in your daily life, And you don't have to give up practicality, you just need to learn how to make smarter choices. What seems practical in the short term, such as reheating oats several times, may be taking away from your body the very thing it needs most: vitality. And we go further. There is an emotional aspect to this practice. Many people prepare oats with affection, thinking they are doing their best for themselves, and indeed, the intention is good. But if practice does not accompany the right knowledge, the result can be the opposite of what is desired. Therefore, understanding how small actions impact your health in a broad way is liberating. You stop being hostage to fads or automatic routines and start acting consciously, with purpose. And there is no right age to start taking care of yourself. Your body, now more mature, more experienced, deserves to be treated with respect. It's not about complicating your life, but about making it fuller, with simple decisions that make all the difference. Because taking care of your diet after 50 is not a luxury, it is a priority. It is what will allow you to live with more autonomy, more balance, and more well-being. And as we're on this journey together, let's continue to unravel these habits that seemed harmless, but that may be undermining your health from within. Because the next mistake, which most people make without realizing it, is directly linked to another very common habit in the preparation of oatmeal. And if you value your gut health, your lightness, and even the health of your bones, you'll want to know what's next. Because this next mistake, although it goes unnoticed by practically everyone, has a profound and often painful impact, especially on those who already feel that their intestines are slower, who live with that feeling of bloating, or who simply do not understand why certain meals cause discomfort, even though they are considered healthy. We are talking about a habit that seems harmless, but which, in the context of strategic eating after the age of 50, may be sabotaging your digestive well-being and even your immunity, mixing oats with excessively acidic or fast-digesting fruits. Yes, you read that right. The combination of oats with certain fruits, although often sold as perfect, may not be so beneficial when we look at the body of those who are past middle age. And this has nothing to do with food radicalism, but with understanding how your body reacts to what you consume, especially when the digestive system is already more sensitive, slower, or with less production of enzymes, something absolutely natural over time. Acidic fruits, such as pineapple, orange, kiwi, strawberry, and even some more acidic apples, can react negatively when combined with raw or poorly prepared cereals, such as oatmeal. What occurs in this process is a competition within your digestive system. The acidity of the fruit requires a faster, enzymatic type of digestion, while oats, rich in soluble fiber and starch, require a slower, more gradual and often more acidic process to be digested properly. The result of this is an internal digestive shock, which can manifest itself in the form of gas, reflux, a feeling of heaviness in the stomach, intestinal fermentation, and even that heartburn that insists on appearing for no apparent reason. This type of discomfort, when it happens frequently, begins to directly interfere with quality of life. You feel that digestion is slower, that your belly swells easily, that food takes time to come down. And all of this compromises not only your day, but your mood, and your energy. And that's precisely where the danger lies. When discomfort becomes common, we normalize it, learn to live with that. And what was supposed to be a functional diet becomes, unintentionally, a daily source of internal irritation. And there's more. When this mixture, oats and acidic fruit, happens frequently, there is also an impact on the intestinal microbiota, which is that set of good bacteria that protects your immunity, regulates the intestine, and even influences your brain. An unbalanced, inflamed, or underfed microbiota can cause not only digestive problems, but also alter sleep, increase anxiety, and leave the immune system more vulnerable. And it all starts there, in what you think is a healthy breakfast. This is even more critical after 50, because it is precisely at this stage that the body starts to depend even more on efficient digestion to be able to absorb nutrients. And if this absorption does not happen correctly, the damage goes beyond the belly. It affects the bones, joints, cardiovascular health, and even your memory. It may seem like an exaggeration, but the science is clear. The gut is the starting point for solid health, especially in maturity. And a difficult, repetitive, silent digestion ends up weakening everything that is linked to your vitality. Now, you may be wondering, but then I can't eat fruit with oatmeal anymore. Yes, you can, but with intelligence. The secret is in choosing the right fruits, in the quantity, and at the time of consumption. More neutral fruits, or those with a moderate glycemic index, such as ripe bananas, in small amounts, papaya, pears, or even avocados, tend to combine much better with oatmeal. These are fruits that collaborate with digestion, offer complementary fiber, and avoid the fermentative effect that acidic fruits can cause. Another tip is to never overdo the amount of fruit. 3 different types in a single bowl don't make your meal healthier. On the contrary, they make your digestion more complex. Remember, simplicity and balance are the pillars of eating after 50. The more you respect your body's limits, the more it responds with energy, lightness, and mental clarity. And it is not only the acidity of the fruit that interferes, but also its ripeness. A green banana, for example, is very rich in resistant starch, which can be great for the microbiota, but terrible if you already have a trapped intestine or gas. An unripe papaya, on the other hand, can make digestion even more difficult. Therefore, choosing the point of the fruit well and observing how your body reacts is an exercise in internal listening that makes all the difference. Here comes a powerful concept of strategic eating: food self-knowledge. After 50, there is no ready-made formula, but there are intelligent paths based on science, observation, and practice. And one of these paths is to learn to put together combinations that respect your digestive system, that bring lightness, not weight, that they feed the body without overloading it, that they respect their rhythm instead of forcing a pattern that may have worked in another phase of life. In addition, it is worth mentioning that it is not necessary to eliminate acidic fruits forever. The important thing is to avoid combining them with foods that require slower digestion or that ferment easily, such as oatmeal. If you like an orange or kiwi in the morning, try eating them on their own, on an empty stomach, with a time interval before consuming your oatmeal, or leave it for another time of the day. This way you avoid digestive conflicts and maintain the proper functioning of the intestine, which, as we have already said, is the basis of everything else. And as we are dealing with an audience that is over 50, I cannot fail to reinforce that attention to the body's signals is the greatest thermometer you can have. Have you felt that after breakfast comes an inexplicable tiredness? A stuffing that accompanies you until lunch? A discomfort that starts out light but insists on staying? These are signs. The body speaks, and it speaks every day. The question is whether you are willing to listen. And the good news is that by adjusting this simple morning combination, many people report surprising improvements. Less gas, more lightness, a more regulated gut, a more stable mood, and even a deeper sleep. Therefore, the question that remains now is, how have you set up your breakfast? What kind of fruits have you combined with your oatmeal? How does your body react after this meal? Because the next step in this journey is to understand that, even with all these precautions, a subtle but recurring mistake may be compromising not only digestion, but also the way your body deals with essential minerals, especially calcium and iron. A mistake that hides in the details, but that may be draining your muscle strength, your balance, and even your bone health without you realizing it. A silent mistake, but with a profound impact, especially on those over 50 years old, and already feel the effects of time on bones, joints, muscle strength, and even balance. Oatmeal, as you have seen so far, can be an excellent ally. But when poorly combined, poorly prepared, or misunderstood, it can get in the way a lot. And this 7th mistake, which we are going to explore now, is precisely ignoring the ideal amount of consumption and falling into the trap of the more, the merrier. This is a common belief. If it's healthy, I can eat it as much as I want. After all, oats have fiber, it's natural. It helps in the intestine. Sure. Yes, but only to a certain extent. Because everything, even the most nutritious foods, has a limit of tolerance and enjoyment in the body, especially after 50, when the metabolism slows down, the digestive system becomes more selective, and the body starts to process everything more slowly. The problem is that many people help themselves to exaggerated portions of oatmeal thinking that they are reinforcing the meal. They are full bowls with 2, sometimes 3 tablespoons mixed with fruits, seeds, honey, milk, and whatever else fits. The result? An excess of soluble fiber and fermentable starch that the gut can't process efficiently. This generates exaggerated fermentation, abdominal bloating, discomfort, gas, and even constipation, the opposite of what is desired when consuming oatmeal. And this does not happen only because of the amount of fiber. Oats, despite having a lower glycemic index than many refined cereals, are still a source of carbohydrate. And if consumed in excess, especially in the morning, and without an adequate proportion of proteins and good fats, it ends up raising blood sugar levels. This is especially worrying for those who already have some tendency to insulin resistance, prediabetes, or simply feel a drop in energy during the day, even after eating well. After 50, the body needs balance, not overload. The intestine no longer has the same motility as before. The production of digestive enzymes decreases, and any excess, even of something considered healthy, can result in discomfort and impaired absorption of nutrients. When there is too much fiber in the intestine, for example, intestinal transit time can speed up or slow down too much, directly interfering with the way calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron are absorbed. And these minerals are vital for maintaining strong bones, healthy joints, good immunity, and even ensuring a more stable mind protected against cognitive aging. If you consume oats daily and feel that, even taking care of your diet, you still feel tired throughout the day, a trapped intestine, a feeling of a bloated belly, or even back or joint pain, you may be exaggerating the dose. The ideal portion varies from person to person, but in general, 1 to 2 tablespoons per meal is more than enough to offer the benefits without causing overload. And remember, it's better to eat little every day than too much at one time hoping for a magic effect. Another important point is to understand that oats need variety around. It shouldn't be the center of all your morning meals, every day of the week. The body needs a variety of nutrients, combinations, breaks to self-regulate, including options such as eggs, sourdough breads, natural yogurts, fresh fruits or protein shakes with functional ingredients, can bring balance and give the body the chance to use oats more intelligently without dependence. And speaking of intelligence, this is where the real power of strategic eating comes in. Knowing how to make food work in your favor. Use what nature offers you with respect to your stage of life, your metabolism, your pain, your goals. Excessive oats, without criteria, can sap your energy, disrupt digestion, compromise the absorption of minerals, and generate discomfort that could be avoided with a little more attention. And this is the kind of adjustment that doesn't require major changes, doesn't require crash diets or miracle formulas. It only requires looking at your plate with awareness, with affection, and with respect for your current moment. Because from 50 onwards, every detail counts. Every spoonful has weight. Every combination makes a difference. And understanding this is an act of deep care for oneself. And I want to take this moment to invite you. If you come this far, it's because you care about your body, your health, your future. So take advantage now and subscribe to the channel. Here you will continue to receive high-value content with clear, practical information, designed exactly for those who are at this stage of life and want to live with more lightness, more vitality, and more autonomy. Signing up is a simple step, but it keeps you connected to everything that can transform your health wisely. And it doesn't stop here. If this video has helped you in any way, I strongly recommend that you also watch the other content on the channel. There are videos about the worst breakfast mistakes after 50, about foods that are inflaming your joints without you realizing it, and even about how to reverse leg pain with simple diet adjustments. Each video is one more step towards a life with more quality and awareness. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had the feeling that, even eating healthy, the body does not respond as before? Tell me here in the comments. Share your experience, because your story can help others who are also in this search for clarity and well-being. And if this content made sense to you, write below. Now I understand the right measure of oats. So I know you're with me on this journey. And speaking of journey, ours is not over yet. Because even adjusting the amount and combination of oats, there is one last mistake, perhaps the most common and least talked about, that many people make due to lack of guidance. And it is directly linked to the quality of the product you choose on the market shelf, a choice that can determine whether oats will be your ally or your biggest obstacle on this journey to longevity with vitality.